Now, as the Russia-Ukraine war rages on, US President Joe Biden's administration is all set to send cluster bombs to Ukraine as part of a new $800 million package. This decision comes as Ukraine is engaged in a challenging counteroffensive against Russia. However, Washington's move to provide cluster munitions to Ukraine has triggered severe criticism from some of its allies and humanitarian groups. Most notably, Germany has voiced its disapproval over providing cluster bombs to Ukraine. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock had on Friday said that all the member countries of the Convention on Cluster Munitions are opposed to the decision of providing the controversial munitions to Kyiv. Cluster bombs are banned in 111 countries since the Oslo Convention on Cluster Munitions came into force in 2008. However, the White House and Pentagon have defended the decision. Senior White House and Pentagon officials acknowledged the concerns about the use and effects of cluster bombs. But on the other hand, they strongly stressed on the need for such explosives in Ukraine's fight against Russia. They also emphasized that the new bombs are more effective than cluster munitions being used by Russia.
Are we breaking the law? We are not breaking the law. I would say, first of all, the prohibition against exporting above 1%, these munitions are pretty close to 1%, but they're not at the 1% level. But the president does have the authority to waive that requirement on national security grounds, and that's what he has done in this instance. There's no dispute that he has that authority. It's in law. I'm as concerned about the humanitarian circumstance as anybody. But the worst thing for civilians in Ukraine is for Russia to win the war. And so it's important that they don't.
Now, during an interview with CNN, President Joe Biden has said that providing these cluster munitions to Ukraine was a difficult decision. However, Biden highlighted that Kyiv was in dire need of such ammunition in its counteroffensive. On the other hand, humanitarian groups have raised concerns about its effects on civilians and on nature. The question is, what are cluster bombs? How are they a humanitarian concern? Our next report gets you all the details on this. Take a look.
Cluster bombs are munitions consisting of a projectile known as a parent munition that transports several hundred bomblets, or cluster munitions. Dropped by aircraft or launched from the ground, cluster bombs are designed to be dispersed over a wide area the size of several football pitches. As these weapons are generally free-falling, they can strike the ground a considerable distance from the target area if they're not used correctly, or if conditions are, for example, windy. In addition, not all bomblets detonate on impact. They thus become de facto anti-personnel mines, banned by the 1997 Ottawa Convention. Years after a conflict is over, they can kill dozens of people, including small children, attracted by their bright colours. By signing the Oslo Convention, more than 100 countries have pledged to clear contaminated areas, a long and dangerous task.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.